What it do, what it is, what it ain't. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Get Right Podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to get notifications of new content. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you dig? Cue the music.
Yo, what up, though? It's your boy Rod. We missing T today, so no yelling in the microphone to bring us in, but I got my homie DC with us and homie T visiting in Detroit. You know what I mean? We'll rock it out without him. So DC, what up, man?
That's right. It's your boy DC in the place to be, aka the Trigger Man. Shout out to my 80s babies. Let's go.
Yes, sir. And man, speaking of 80s, there's a lot of 80s babies that's been out here rapping, and some 90s too. But you know what I mean, the 80s babies are out here. You know, you got Dot that's killing it on tour right now. Drake allegedly is back in the lab. The Iceman coming soon. We'll see what that's talking about. But there's another dude. Actually, there's a couple people from the blog era that we're gonna call it that's been outside a little bit. First, we had Big Sean with the Red Bull freestyle. He had Joey Badass out here leaving power for a minute. You know what I mean? Doing a dope freestyle in front of Absol, kind of dissing his set. You know what I mean? TDE. And next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. And we had a week of hip hop that was one for the record books, man. I know a lot of people aren't really invested in hip hop like you and I are, or T. But for me, man, it was a great week to hear people just exercising their pen, man. And shout out to Joey Badass, because I wasn't aware of his game, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I listened to Joey a few times, and I know he could rap, but battle tested, I wouldn't say so. But he, you know what I mean, he stuck his neck out there and said something back in January that was aiming towards Mr. OK Llama, K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, whatever nickname you want to call him, Kung Fu Kenny. I think he says a little bit of all of that in each one of his verses. So he's sticking to the script of calling out Kendrick Lamar. But in the midst, you know what I mean, K. Dot on tour right now, so there's some young guys out here that's like, yo, yeah, K Dot, you know, you ain't on K Dot level right now, so let me get at you.
He's not on K Dot's level, like in terms of popularity, bro. Yeah, I think even if Kendrick was not on tour, he still wouldn't respond.
He'd probably get a bar. He's worth a bar, not a full full out diss. It's a straight bar, almost like even though hindsight, you know, 50 did turn out to be. I mean, 50 turned out to be pretty big, but in the moment when Jay said, I'm all about the dollar with it's 50 Cent, that's all he needed to say to 50 at that time. So I think he might get a bar at some point, but I don't think it's going to garner enough attention for him to, you know, after coming against Drake, bro, you can't go out and just battle everybody. You know what I mean? Like that just waters down the sport. But
yeah,
Joey came with some bars. I'm not gonna lie, man. He surprised me with the tactics, the speed at which he was putting the music out. Like you can tell it wasn't pre-recorded, and within like what we call it, a 48-hour time frame, there was a lot of music that was going around, man. They claimed it the East Coast or Joey versus the West Coast, which I don't like that. I don't like that narrative. It wasn't the West Coast. Like West Coast that's a large circumference of area. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he was calling out. I think he called out. It was just whoever answers the call. That's who he's talking about.
He did. But the narrative was Joey's versus the West Coast. Like if you was on Twitter and all these like media spaces, it was Joey versus the West Coast. Almost how they did the Pac East versus West, bro. No, it was Pac versus Big. It wasn't East versus West.
Yeah.
So they try to kind of spin that again to say, you know what I mean, Joey versus the West Coast because of the line he said too much West Coast dick licking. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah,
back in January.
yeah,
And you know what I mean? People from the West for sure felt the way about it. And again, he was coming at Dot. He's trying to get that number one spot. I think it all stems back to the Control verse. He wasn't mentioned in the Control verse, and he felt the way about it at the time. I think Joey was only like 17 or something like that, though. But
yeah. He was young, and Joey never was on like that. Like I'm a fan of Joey.
no,
Well, I'm not gonna say I'm a fan. I know who he is. I respect his pen game.
yeah,
I couldn't really tell you. I couldn't even name a Joey album right now. I know he
nope.
did put out a classic tape. I can't think what it's called, but I can see the album cover in my.
1999. Yeah,
Yeah, he put out he does have a, I would say, an East Coast classic uh body of work in terms of, well, just one album at least, or a mixtape, whatever you call it.
yeah.
But aside from that, like nobody, I don't think outside of New York was really checking for Joey Badass like that. And I
I don't
think
think
even
New York was checking for him like that.
and that's what I was gonna say. Unless you're just like into that boom bap, just really following that boom bap era, you probably
Mhm.
weren't checking for Joey. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's definitely a shot, like a clout chasing shot to me.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
it
And shout out to
definitely.
Ray Vaughn, bro, from TDE. I don't know if you listen to Ray Vaughn mixtape yet, but I like it. You know, man, I know you're not a huge West Coast um,
Does
listener
it
like
sound like
that.
real West Coast?
Not to me. You know, there's a song or two that may sound, have that bounce to it. Like he got one with La Russell that got a little bit more bounce to it, but it's more, when you listen to TDE, you don't really hear a regional sound. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just good music. Like even like Schoolboy, if he didn't claim California, you wouldn't tell he's from
you wouldn't know.
California. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Absol for sure. You wouldn't think he's from California. J Rock, like none of them have like a true just and I'm considering it more of a Bay Area sound is what the bounce has. Like the Bay Area has
Yeah,
more of a bounce sound than historically like Compton and South Central, and those were more gritty in my opinion. Like you listen to Snoop and
Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey,
YG had that
NWA,
bounce.
like
He's from Compton. He
YG
had
did
that
have that
bounce.
bounce. He was primarily
Um,
Mustard, which
yeah,
Mustard was Mustard kind of he had his own sound, but it definitely derived from that
Bay
Bay
Area.
Area
Yeah,
sound to
for
me.
sure. Yeah, no,
So
it definitely did.
Ray Vaughn doesn't have that true sound on this mixtape that he had. Now the responses that he had definitely had an element to it. Like the first song he dropped called uh Whole Era instead of
Mm-hmm.
Pro Era, which is supposed to
Yeah,
be Joey Badass
yeah.
like
With
label or
Lil
whatever.
Toy's face whacked out.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I first listened to it, I was like, here we go, man. It's got that West Coast sound. It's cool. I like it as a song, but as a diss track, whatever. Joey watching you. Then we gonna just skip Daylight. Daylight
that,
disappointing. We gonna skip
that
Daylight.
was,
We
bro.
just
That was
gonna keep it.
horrendous, bro.
Man, that beat kicked his
Horrendous.
ass, bro. That beat was
God,
kicking his
dog.
ass. I'm like, is it ever going to be a battle rapper that can make a good song? It
I'm
it
gonna say
doesn't sound like
never.
it.
Cause bro, I know
It'd
who
be
else
like,
used to make those. He used to have the podcast, Math Hoffa, and then it kind of went
yeah,
crazy, went left or whatever. But he would always have this like a promo song as an intro.
yeah,
And you go to the comments like on YouTube, and like every single time, hey y'all, the real podcast starts at 1 minute such and such, 1 minute or 2 minutes such and
yeah.
such, because nobody wanted to hear the damn song, myself included.
No,
And
nobody.
I'm like, it was crazy. He was
Same.
pressed about it on, I think it was Vlad, because Vlad he did a Vlad interview. And he brought up the fact that basically, like, do you look at the comments how everybody like is trashing your music? And
Yeah.
Matt Hoffa's response was, "Well, those are just light packs." He's like, I got some real heat, but I'm just sitting on it. Those are just little
Mm,
lights. Nah, bro. Don't nobody just put
bro.
up some BS just because, bro. Like
No.
you thought that was gonna go off. It ain't quite go off, and But yeah, you're right. It's just two
Yeah,
different sports almost. I guess two
two
different
different sports,
mindsets.
man. Like
Yeah.
when you battle rap, like I will say battle rappers are probably lyrically the most superior beings on the planet because the stuff they come up with a cappella is bravo, amazing.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't translate to a beat. And sometimes the production just doesn't sound good. I don't know if they have troubles picking the beat or they can't get the right producers to buy into them or whatever the case may be, but it just be like, yo, why can't you make a song? I remember whatever my man named, they used to be on 106 in Park, Paperboy, then you had Jen, and then Blind Fury. I
Yeah.
think they all got record deals at some point, but nothing ever came out. Even Elliot Ness, remember E Ness on
Yep.
what was
He
that,
went
Making
on
the
the
Band?
band, making a band.
Yeah, never did
Yeah.
anything, man. You know what I
I
mean?
got an analogy, man. I got an analogy. So like the battle rapper versus the like music making, rapper the record deal or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say it's the difference between a basketball player who like kills it on and one mixtapes,
Mm,
but you take him to the league and trash for the most part. Like you got, I think only one
mm.
person made the league. Ray for
Ray for
Austin,
Austin.
Skip to
Yep.
Malou.
Yep.
Of all those guys, I think that's kind of what it is. It's like there's and one tape balls or and one tape rapping, and then
Yep.
there's you get to the league, you know what I'm saying? But those guys they can't make it in the league, bro. They can't
They
make a
can't
good
make
song.
it, man. That is a great
Yeah,
analogy, and that's what Daylight did. Because
yeah,
the beats he chose, I'm like, yo, like it makes you not even want to hear the words. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah,
and when you go back and listen to it, Joey didn't out rap Daylight. You know what I mean? But who cares? Who cares if nobody
right,
wants to
yeah,
listen to it? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that was his mistake, and he happened to drop like 3 of them like that. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Um,
Yeah, and then like sometimes he's not rapping on beat, and
yeah,
it's
it's
just,
like
bro. Like I gotta like when you're making music, the number one thing it has to be enjoyable first.
it
I'm gonna
has
say
to
the
be
lyrics come
enjoyable.
second. The lyrics come
Has to be
second. Like
enjoyable. I agree.
yeah, like you got to be able
Like
to bob your head to a pause.
exactly.
So and it's
Yeah,
like the battle rappers they never quite got that. I think it's because
never
maybe
quite.
they focus so much on the bars that the beat is secondary to them. He's like, no, no, listen to what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like Illmatic is seen as like the first like big New York hip hop classic,
yeah,
and
yeah,
one of the reasons is it's the beats, bro. Like for the
yeah,
time, those beats were like crazy for the time. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
man.
Like that was like it was like having like the Justice League or the Heat Makers and Timbaland on the
Yeah,
album all at one time. Like that's kind of what it was at the time. We go back and listen to it, and maybe the beats don't quite hit the same, but at
yeah,
the time, Nas could rap. Nas was spitting, but
yep,
he was spitting over the greatest beats of the era. That's
yeah,
what made Illmatic a cultural phenomenon. And
100%.
these battle rappers, man, they just don't seem to get it. Like that beat
No,
selection is just
no,
god awful.
it's key, man, and that's why you see the greats usually stick with the same core of their producers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Jay had, Tim Pharrell and Guru and maybe Premier here and there. You know what I mean? That was his base.
yeah,
Just Blaze, my bad, at some point.
yeah. Just
Kanye at
Blaze.
some
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
But for the most part, you knew what you were going to get. A Pharrell track or Neptunes. You were going to get a Guru track. And
another rapper I would say, even though we don't necessarily put him up there with top lyricists per se, but he's had a very long career. Wiz Khalifa. You know what I'm
Wiz,
saying? He's
yeah.
always Cardo on the beat,
Hmm.
Sledrin. Um, I feel like I'm missing somebody. Ty Dolla Sign now. I was in the
Yeah.
last like 6-7 years. He collabs with Ty Dolla Sign a lot.
Yep.
But he's another one of those rappers, man, that he's been around consistent, making
Yeah.
major moves, making money, major money
Yeah,
every
man.
year. And he has the same core of people he works with all the time.
It works, man. I mean, look at Drake. 40
Yeah,
boy wonder conductor.
yeah. Yep.
You know, what I mean? Mainly 40 and Boy Wonder. That's
Yep.
been his core for the last 15 years or whatever, however long it's been.
Man, would you
So
call this like the hip hop version of a band? Because there's no bands in hip hop. It's
yeah,
just rapper, and all we see is the rapper. Like the producer doesn't necessarily get all
yeah,
the shine. But if you think about it, like the most successful, like we're talking about working with the same crew, it's like they're keeping the same band. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
The same drummer, the same lead
yeah.
guitarist. It's just producers, beat makers.
It's something about chemistry, man. You gotta have chemistry with the people you're working with to formulate that success. And I think that's what a lot of young rappers don't get. Like they don't get it's not about even having the premier producer at the time. Is do you have a unique sound with a producer that can fit that sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And basically amplify your voice. And a lot of young rappers don't get that, and that's why they don't succeed. You know what I mean? It truly is a formula. And like you say, it's a band. It's more than just the or the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get the rapper is the one that's in the forefront, but there's a lot that goes into making that happen, that song happen.
There's one young rapper that comes to mind. I was thinking of like, okay, which of these younger rappers that's out that might fit that mold of consistency? And although we don't really listen to her music like that, I'm gonna throw
Hmm.
out a name who I think her music sounds pretty consistent. I don't know who makes her beats. I'm just freestyling off of the sound. Megan Thee Stallion. It seems as
Mm,
if I don't know who does her music. I never read her credits, but whenever she puts out music, it's pretty consistent. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's on message, it's on brand for her all the time.
yeah,
And they all have a very similar sound. Drum pattern is more so what I'm thinking about.
yeah,
And she might be one of them ones of the like newer rappers that have kind of. It sounds like she stays with the same crew. And the baby, that's another one.
yeah, yeah,
But I don't know.
yeah,
If that's a good thing because the baby raps over the most simplistic, like 2 bar, 4 bar, loop it over and over again kind of beats.
yeah, man.
So
That
you might need to branch out a little bit actually.
what's that guy's name? Trying to think of the tag.
Lil Yachty.
Jesse, no, it's like Jesse made another one, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever you
that guy.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that's definitely got to be
Jetson,
the
that's his
in-house
name.
producer.
Jetson made
Yeah,
another one. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
got to be the in-house producer.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those colorful beats, man. You know who else had those colorful beats, and we'll get back to the battle, but I think that's one of the things that kind of hindered Ludacris to being one of the elite rappers. You know what I mean? Because Luda can spit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it was so animated, and you had these colorful beats and colorful videos. It just made it kind of like almost gimmickish. You know what I mean? But
yeah, definitely.
it didn't take away from the ability to rap, but it just didn't put him in the echelon of being one of the elite rappers of his time, which we know he could spit.
For sure, because it's funny. I mean, T and I did an episode. It was the two of us I don't know, a few weeks ago, and we were talking about I think, or we were following up on that conversation the three of us had of who has a universal classic. And I believe
Yeah.
one of the listeners that T mentioned they threw in Ludacris Chicken and Beer. And at
Mm.
first I was like, hell no, not Chicken and Beer. And then I looked at the track list and I'm like, yo, Chicken and Beer was nuts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
to your point, like when you think of the upper echelon, Luda often gets overlooked. But if you actually sit and pay attention, actually
Yeah.
no, Luda he got the bars just like you said. He got the hits. He fits the mold. He had longevity. He wasn't
Yeah.
just a one and done. But unfortunately, with Luda, he wasn't taken serious. I think until he did release Therapy. That was like his
Mm.
first and only like quote unquote serious album. I think he won a
Yeah.
Grammy off that thing. And that kind of put him on the upper echelon of rappers because then he was quote unquote serious. It wasn't as
Yeah.
animated and whatnot.
Yeah.
But now Luda one of them ones though, bro.
And one of
For
them
sure.
was, man. And shout out to Rayvon to bring it back. because I went back and listened to the tracks he put out, and yeah, if you don't like the Cali sound, you might not get it. But I happen to like it. The tracks he put out, he's there, bro. Like
Yeah.
the lyrics, all of that. I think he actually, like, if you listen to it, um, his disses were more scathing than Joey's
And
were.
Joey's.
Just Joey's, his flow was better. You know what I mean? Like Ray Vaughn was, I don't know, man. His lyrics was hitting. Everything was hitting to me the next time I listened to it, but the first time I hit it, I didn't catch it immediately, except for the one with the back down beat. Now that joint was crazy off first listen.
Yeah, it was.
And that's just
That was
one of my
nice flip.
favorite beats. That's one of my favorite dish records.
Oh, for real?
And the way yeah, man, 50 went crazy on that. That beat to me is just damn near flawless. And the way they flipped that beat, I thought it was dope, man. And Roy and Maul kind of hated on it, saying it was trash. I'm like, how can you say that's trash? But that's that New York bias, and everybody's gonna have their
Yeah.
biases. But I thought that was dope, man. And
No, that was dope. I did like that. That was a nice flip. You know, I will say. You know what? I will say this. Rayvon, this battle has put Rayvon on my radar.
yeah,
Like I've
yeah.
known him. I've known of him. I know he's TDD and all that. But I was never really checking for Rayvon like that. After this little battle,
hmm
I am like, okay, let me go back and see what he's talking about. Which I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's what he wanted, and maybe Joey wanted it too. But I don't know. For me, Joey ain't getting no more spins than he normally gets.
No. I mean, he has an album. It's all rollout. Joey has an album coming out in August. I think he said he's trying to release it. So it's rollout for sure.
Yeah,
The thing Joey has to do though is, one, he needs to make a song that's going to
right.
hit, and then the album need to hit. Like, one thing I think people forget about this whole Drake and Dot thing is right after Kendrick put out a slap. You know what I mean? He put out a
Yeah.
solid album that some would consider his best album. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's in the argument. It's one of the easiest listens that he's done out of his discography. That and Damn are probably the two easiest listens commercially that he has.
Definitely.
So for him to be able to do that and capitalize off it, it just kind of catapult his relevance for an extended amount of period. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if Joey truly wants to capitalize off of this, he has to back it up with the music. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was cool for a battle to come out and showcase your talents, but how does that translate? Almost like battle rappers, how does that translate to the masses? Because
Right.
outside of the hip hop community, people still don't know who Joey Badass out is unless they're watching Wu-Tang and Power. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what most people know him from. Oh, that's unique. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
yeah, he's a rapper,
Yep.
bro. I know him as Joey.
Yep.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how that lines up. But like you said, for Ray Vaughn, he just dropped something. He just dropped that mixtape that's dope. You know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean?
check it out.
And
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the dollar menu.
yeah, man, it's dope.
I'ma
It's
check
dope. It's
it out.
very dope. And I think the machine that he has behind him, although like they don't put out the amounts of music that artists may want, like SZA should be able to show you that. Listen to them. They know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? If it was up to
Right.
SZA, she tried to leave TDE how many times? You know what I mean? Because she wants to put her music out. But
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding. Like they're going over quality over quantity. And
Yeah.
you can see it throughout their entire makeup since they've been a relevant record label. So listen to them. You know what I mean? Reason got dropped off of TDE because he wanted to get dropped because he couldn't put out the music, or as he put it, you know what I mean, strike while the iron was hot. But what are you doing now, Reason? Is anybody checking for you? And he can rap. You know what I mean? Reason can rap. But is anybody
Yeah.
checking for Reason right now?
Not at all.
Nope. Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah. Top know what he doing, bro. Top know what he doing. Like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of times these boutique labels, they kind of rest their laurels on a marquee artist. That does not apply to TDE. Yeah,
It
you got
does
the
not.
four. You got Black Hippie, but damn, you got Doechii. Damn, you
Yeah.
got SZA. Damn,
You
you
got
got now
Sir.
Ray Vaughn's on the come up. Sir. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about Sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So now you got Ray Vaughn, the kind of new kids on the block. Well, I would say Doechii, Ray Vaughn, Reason, even though he's not there anymore. Those are
Hmm.
kind of the second generation.
Yeah,
But
man.
still, second generation is looking pretty good. I mean, you got Doechii and SZA just running the game right now.
Yeah,
You
man.
got Ray Vaughn in the wings, kind of getting this cloud up slowly but surely. And I don't know who else they got on their team, but yeah, TDE, bro.
Yeah.
But you know what, bro? You know something that's not getting talked about, and I feel bad for him, for your Detroit guy, Big Sean, bro. This
Yeah,
is the
man.
second time that he came
Yeah.
out and dropped off bars. Because at
Yeah,
first on that
man.
three-headed monster thing or whatever the Red Bull
Yeah.
joint, but he came out, he killed it. I thought that he had
Hey.
the second best verse behind Joey
Yeah.
Badass. I have Absol as
So,
third,
yeah.
but he killed but he got overshadowed by the whole Joey Badass and a little bit of Absol, just because of
Yeah.
Absol kind of putting his toe in the water a little bit,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe. And the same thing happened on Control. He
Yeah,
came through
man.
with bars on Control. Nobody's talking about it. And now this, he put out something, and something tells me that maybe he put the Red Bull thing together. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
spitting. But like, yo,
Well,
like,
well,
damn, Big Sean.
what's interesting about that is when the Red Bull freestyle first dropped, and I'm not a comment creeper, but I happened to look at the comments on this one. I don't know
Okay.
why, but I don't usually read comments, and people just was like, I wish Sean would stop making music. He's terrible. He's trash. I'm like, bro, and it was like multiples, and I'm like, are y'all listening to what he's saying? Like, are y'all
That's
hearing him rap?
crazy.
I'm like, that is why I've never heard anyone call Sean trash. Like, I've heard people kind of like, yo, he's not for me, but I've never heard anybody say trash. And there was multiple people going in on him saying he's trash. I wish he would stop making music. Why is he on there with them? And I'm like, yo, listen to
That's
what he's
wild.
saying. Listen to the bars, man. So
Yeah.
for you to even acknowledge that Sean was one of the better verses, like that just tells me where your ear is, and like most hip hop heads would agree. So I'm assuming these were like, I don't even know who they were. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
like comment creep too much, but I don't know who they were and why they decided that Sean was the weakest link of this whole freestyle and the weakest link of rap, period. Like he's Silk the Shocker or somebody. I'm like, bro, this is like
Not
at
Silk.
one point people was considering him to be one of them ones. You know what I mean? He was in
Right.
contention for the big three. I don't know
Big
why it's
three.
always three, but he was in
Yeah.
contention for it. You know what I mean? Between him, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Wale was there for a second. Wale just never really got over the hump. I know you hate Wale,
Right.
but I like Wale, man. He's cool. Probably a little too much poetry for him to get big, but I thought he was cool in the first couple albums. It started to go downhill from there. But that was pretty much the blog era. You know what I mean? The major players of the blog era.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
man,
honestly, I
hopefully-
would say it's funny if we talking the blog era, and I'm biased, but I would say the biggest rapper to come out is Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah,
or the most successful.
Wiz.
I guess.
Well,
I would say
your boy was part of that too. I'm not a big listener, but I hear that there's tracks where there's not many tracks that he was on that he didn't take the first or second position as the best bars. Big Crit. I don't listen to him, so I wouldn't be able to.
Crizzle.
I wouldn't be able to validate that or not. But
Crizzle was nice.
he seemed to
Crizzle
get a lot
was
of
nice.
love.
Crizzle. So Big Crit, if I'm objective, he had more of a cult following. You know what I'm saying? He never really made it out the underground. He had a couple songs that he kind of scratched the surface of quote unquote going pop, so to speak. But
Yeah.
his thing has always been underground. He's got a cult following, myself included. Matter of fact, whenever he goes, I love going to his concerts because one, his concerts always dope, and two, they always cheap because he's only gonna do a venue so big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So But yeah, definitely, I would say Crit. Well, Wiz is my favorite out of that era,
Yeah,
but I would say Crit is number two.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, Wiz, for him to not truly be a lyricist and his music is not up tempo. It's very slow. It's very like relaxing, almost Larry June like. Think
yeah.
it's meant for you to get high and just be vibe
That
off
that's
of
what
it.
it
But
is. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's stoner music. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but
It's chill vibes. It's not like you said. It's not gonna be too up tempo. He's never
yeah,
gonna get too serious. We talked
yeah,
about rappers who tell stories. I think last week he's not
yeah,
telling you no stories. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, but
But
you
he
know what about
delivers.
Wiz is he's in his lane. He owns it, bro. Like
Yeah,
he's like, this is who I am. You know, I'm not the super gangster. I'm not in these streets. I'm not this. I'm not that. This is my lane, and I'm
yeah.
going to own it. You know.
And you know what? It's nothing wrong with that, man. I think too many times we try to put artists into a box that's not their lane. You know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
people you'll call for like, man, I want to see them battle. And it's like that ain't that lane. Like I don't want to
Right.
see him battle because he's not going to perform well in that. And that kind of like this is a society that you don't get too many chances. You know what I mean? So unless you're
No.
Kanye, you know what I mean? That's the only person I know that get
Yeah.
a million chances. But you don't get too many to make impressions and keep that career longevity going. Like if you make one misstep, depending on if you're a big artist or not, that's your career, bro. Now you're doing, tours at a 100-person show now. You know what I mean?
Right. The
So
baby.
the baby, yep, exactly. So like some people were calling for even this battle. I don't know why they call it rap beef. It's not beef. You know what I mean? It's a battle. It was a rap battle. People were calling like,
Right.
man, how Soul gonna let Joey talk like that? Why Soul didn't jump in? Well, have you seen Soul battle anybody? Like
Right.
Soul can probably rap better than 90% of the people out here rapping, but that doesn't mean it translates to a battle. You know what I mean? It's part of the thing with even seeing J. Cole try to battle, like even though he dipped his toe in there, I guess because he talked so much about it and talked about how he was the best. And then when it was your time to prove it, it was a dud. Like 7 Minute
It
Drill
was
was
a
a dud.
dud.
It was a
Yeah.
dud.
And he
I
knew
think
it
if
was a
that
dud.
song was better, he wouldn't have dropped out the battle. Like hindsight, he wouldn't have dropped out. If he really thought that song was the one, it would have went off and he would have kept it going.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew it, man. Because
Yeah.
I think Cole is one of those rappers. I think he comes across as very self aware. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like, I think even as he was putting it out, he knew, bro, this ain't it. But everybody is
Yeah.
putting a battery in my back. I gotta say something. So I'm gonna just throw this
Yeah.
out there. And he thought
Yeah.
about it. He's like, you know what, this ain't me, bro. I'm gonna just take my lumps on the front end and move on with my life. And that's what he did. And I will say, hindsight 2020, I still don't like the move, but
No.
he probably made the best move, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been better to just not put nothing out at all. So
Yeah.
if he would have
Yeah,
did
well,
that, it's not
yeah.
much you
Consider,
can
I
say.
guess, you're right. I guess considering that he did step out there, the best thing he could do was like graciously bow out. But yeah, he should have never
Yeah.
even said anything at all and just remain quiet through the summer. You know, part of
Yeah,
me
man.
wonders if he delayed his album over that because I feel like he was supposed to drop all off last year.
He had a really good momentum going at the
Yeah,
time before that happened. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that delayed it. He needed some time to let that mull over a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. But it is a good time for hip hop right now. There's a lot of focus on bars, a lot of focus on lyricism, a lot of focus on getting back to the music and people just rapping. For so long we heard so many imitation Drakes and everybody trying to have the same sound that rap was getting a little boring. You know what I mean? So I like the lyrical test. I like, the Ray Vons jumping out there and again getting his name out there where you make people be like, let me listen a little bit more to this guy. Getting Joey back out there. Some of these other guys that I have no idea who they were. Kai Cash, he made something that was pretty dope. I wasn't really feeling Jadakiss son stuff, but whatever. He at least attempted. He tried. He got out there. Um,
Yeah.
we in a good spot, man. I think last year made it, and it's shout out again to Rothstein Beats. He said 2024 was gonna be different, and it was gonna shake up what we were seeing in the music industry, and boy did it. So
Yeah.
now we're getting
Yeah, it
bars
definitely did.
back. Even though
Hmm.
Drake dropped the R&B joint, Iceman is supposed to be focused more on the rapping side and
Rapping.
bars. I'm hoping, at least. I don't know. You never know with that guy. So, um,
Yeah.
if it does, and come back to the main rapping, then yeah, it's worth it, man. It was worth the battle. It was worth the L. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be something along
Combination.
the lines of if you're reading this, it's too late. I think it's gonna
Mm,
be something like that, where because even that on that album there was still a lot of singing, but I
it
think when
was.
most people think of that album, most people think of the raps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They think of running through the six with my They think
Yeah.
about energy. They think of those are the songs you think about, even though there was actually Saunders Rose was a rap song too. But
Yeah.
anyway, a lot of that song, even though it definitely had about 50-50 singing, you don't think about singing when it came to that album. And,
Yeah.
and Iceman might be like along those lines where the rapping, he rapping, and it just overshadows the singing. Because I don't
Yeah, for
see Drake
sure.
just dropping a rap album. It's just not in him. He's never done it ever.
Ever.
Maybe Her Loss, maybe if I
I
go
mean,
back and listen to it again.
nah, it still had the singing stuff on there. But was that What a Time? Probably the closest.
Oh yeah, with Future, yeah.
Yeah.
And that
I mean,
was the
that's a
one
collab
time.
though.
What's great? Yeah, that's a collab, and that was one the one time I've heard Drake on a project that didn't sound like he took over. That sounded like Future featuring Drake.
It sound like Future featuring Drake. I agree with that. I always thought that. It didn't sound like it was influenced at all by Drake. That was for sure Future's
Yeah,
album.
100%.
But
And Drake said, "Let me get on that." And
yeah.
Future said,
But
"Okay, cool. Yeah, it'll do numbers. Sure."
man, hip hop is in a good place, man. Like I was watching last night. I know you missed the explanation of the tour, my experience from it, but you got to hear it. But I was watching. He did 3 shows in L.A. this past weekend. I think it started
Mm-hmm.
Thursday or Wednesday, something like that, and went through yesterday to see 3 sold out shows. It's basically been sold out shows since Houston. I think Houston was the only one that had only 93% sold, and
Yeah.
everything else has been sold out. And one thing that I didn't mention a couple weeks ago, which I'm really wondering if more rappers are going to try this stadium thing. Drake is probably the only other one that I can think of that could do it right now. And obviously, he'll need another act with it. I don't think he could do it by himself. It probably would have to be a premier artist as well. But you don't realize how big a stadium is until you're sitting in a stadium, dog. Like,
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
to arena tours, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people. But when you sit in a stadium, it's different, bro. And to see what Dot and SZA's doing on this tour, city by city, is crazy, dog. Crazy work. Like this is some pop star stuff, man. I'm like, this is wild. So I'm wondering if like
Yeah.
this is going to help catapult us, because even though SZA's for sure pop, you know what I mean, and not just popular. I'm talking like her music style has some pop elements to it. Like again,
Yeah.
she had a song with Doja Cat that she did at the concert that the young teeny boppers loved it. You know what I mean? And that
Right.
shows you like, okay, she has different elements to her game. But even seeing like so many people that's there for Kendrick, even people that were there for SZA, they just made such a dynamic duo that I'm wondering if there's going to be any other rappers that try to take on that same moniker. Like I saw
Mm.
Fat Joe say SZA and Dot is making a run. He said the best R&B duo combination with rap was Ja and Ashanti.
Ashanti.
I don't,
Ooh.
that's I can see it. I have to think to see if that's the best one, but off head,
So he's saying the
off
best
like just
since
head,
them?
he's saying that
So
Sis and Dot is the best since them. Yeah, and he said
I
they're
think
coming for their spot.
Fat Joe might be on to something, bro.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
might be
I
on to
mean,
something with that one.
off head, man.
Yeah.
Pause. That's I can't think of anybody that would have a better combination than those two. But um, yeah, it will be interesting to see if somebody tries to pull it up. Like I was sitting here thinking, like if Drake was to do a stadium tour, who would he do it with?
I can't think of anybody. The only person I can
He
think of
does the
that
R&B himself, so he actually might. I don't know about sell out. That's the thing.
well, he's definitely not doing a football stadium
No,
solo.
that's
He's
what I'm
not.
saying. Yeah, he has to
He's
have
not.
somebody.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
rapper
I
can do
mean,
that.
basketball arenas is one thing. You know, you're talking about what 20,000 something like that arena.
Yeah,
Football stadiums like 50, 60,000 people, bro, like that
yeah,
or
man.
more.
And to
So I
sell
mean, she
that
did
joint
LA
out,
3 times.
you're selling it out every time, bro. That's ridiculous. And there's people that like the way they had it on the GNX tour is there's nobody in the back of the stage that's back there, right? So they look at those seats and be like, oh man, well those aren't sold. Well, the capacity that they have for the amount of tickets is still 70,000, and 70,000
Yeah,
were sold. They just move them to the front of the stage and have them on
on the
the
field.
like lawn
Yeah.
chairs type things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same amount of people in there, which is crazy though. Like
Yeah.
you doing 70,000 a show, depending on the
You,
stadium. You know what I mean?
you
50 to
doing like what 40
70,000.
shows? You did like what
Yeah,
40 shows, something like that. You
crazy
know.
dog. Like
Yeah.
I don't see any other two combinations in hip hop, at least that would be considered hip hop and R&B, especially that they kind of match each other very well. So I'm wondering like who could do that? Who could be that next person that from the hip hop realm? Because obviously we're trying to make ourselves a bigger genre. Like who else could take on that challenge and sell out a stadium, dog,
See,
consistently?
I don't think there's anybody in R&B. The Weekend. I mean, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
you could say that maybe even
Wicked's
though it's two,
big.
I'm thinking about even be two men and not it wouldn't be a duet thing, but maybe The Weekend and Future. You know, they seem like they would have. I mean, they've done several songs together. They've made hits together.
That's an
They probably
interesting
share similar
combination.
fan bases. Like I mean, I like them both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can see a lot of kids wanting to see The Weekend and Future, so maybe
yeah,
something like that. But as far as a man woman duet type of thing, you got Summer Walker, but I don't know if
yeah.
she's
That's the
big enough
problem.
to
Yeah, you
do.
gonna finding somebody
Uh,
that big that can kind of
there's not
match
like
the
I'm
both
sitting there.
fan merge both fan bases together.
No, I mean you got Janaya Cole, but she's not doing stadiums like that.
No,
Coco
B
Jones, no.
B and J is probably the only other ones, but I don't think even now. Well, B is B. I don't know what she's selling with this
Yeah,
country thing, but
because B does. She does. She's on the. She's like Taylor Swift level.
yeah,
Like
she
they do
does
football
stadiums by
stadiums by
herself.
themselves. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She does. Like she would do 3 nights in L.A. and
yeah,
at the L.A. Rams Stadium and sell it out each time. You know, I know she does 3 shows Atlanta, like in the South.
yeah,
She gets a lot of love in the South. So she'll go to Atlanta, do 3 dates there. She'll go to Charlotte. She'll only do 1 date at Charlotte.
yeah,
But
man.
as far as like R&B women, and I don't even count Beyonce because she's like an alignment. She's really in a class of her own. But it's crazy. You know, I'm just kind of looking through like current R&B acts, and R&B is just not what it used to
Struggling,
be.
bro. It's struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the sound is even different. Like when you incorporate like this trap soul, and who is the premier R&B artist right now outside of Chris CB?
So as far as men,
Yeah, I
you
mean
got Brent Fayez.
Drake and CB could do it for sure.
They could, yeah,
Yeah,
they could definitely do
yeah,
football stadium for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then whenever they link up, they put classes together. That song with "You Got It, Girl, You
Yeah, that No
Got It."
Guidance still go. Like it's
No
one of those songs that
Guidance,
just never
yeah,
get old.
bruh. That's one of the few songs that like I hear on the radio, or you just get a lot of spins, and I never really got tired of it.
Yeah, never,
And I think they
never.
could do. I think they could do that 3 more times. 3 more. Just do 3 more
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
and you got a tour.
There we go. I think we figured it out. We
Yeah,
cracked the code.
we cracked the code, man. Hey, when y'all do the tour, y'all need to give us a cut in them sales, man. Give them like two
Yep.
percent, 1.5,
I'll take
1.5%. We
1.5.
not.
There we go.
Yeah, we not greedy. Hit up our management. Hit up.
For
Give me
sure.
that 1.5% of the gross ticket sales, not net. We need that gross. Don't
That's
play with
right.
us. We ain't done. We know the numbers.
Man. Hey
Uh,
man, it's interesting. I was watching just little snippets of the Beyonce tour. I'm not a Cowboy Carter type. I'm not a Beyonce fan like that. She's cool. I like her. But it's nothing that I just play. But
yeah.
one thing I noticed is that she got her kids involved. Well, two out of three. I think the son is a little more autistic than the other daughter. I can't remember her name.
So
Rumi.
are the kids autistic? Is there something going on?
I've never seen the son, man. I've never seen him,
Yeah,
so
I've
I
never.
don't know. According to
Yeah.
Kanye, they are, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen the son. I can tell that the daughter is a little something, like something is
Mm-hmm.
not all the way there, but she's functioning. She
Yeah.
was she was out on tour. She's out on tour with her right now, along
Yeah.
with
I've seen a
Blue
couple
Ivy,
clips.
who's getting
Yeah.
old, by the way. But it reminded me that, man, like there's two things that a lot of people always say they will do, but it's tougher to do in real life. Is one, work with family, and two, work with friends, man. I know we
Yeah.
have a podcast here together, and one of the things I always try to preach is friendship first. But there was a question that was polled in one of our chats. I think it was polled by you. I don't know if we watched a video on it or not, but the question was, would you hire one of your friends to work for you? Like, you own a business, you out on tour, you doing something. Would you hire one of your friends to actually work for you? Not like a
Now this
partnership,
is
but
if you
actually
own the
work for you.
business or if you just work at the business or both.
Either one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you got to
So
think
yeah, I
about. I was gonna say, you got to think about. What I mean, if you own it, then you have the question of, like, who do you bring in as a partner, versus are they working for you? Because, like, look at LeBron's situation, where I guess you could say LeBron employed individuals, his homies, when he first came into the league, but they all
yeah,
kind of run their own business. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Mav doesn't officially work for Bron anymore. They're just kind of like partners. Here's your business over here. You handle that. Rich,
Right.
all he got the Clutch Sports. So, he
Right.
became an agent and, went off to do his own thing. I forget the other people he have employed with them, but they almost kind of like ventured out into their own business ventures versus just working for LeBron.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think well, one, I think what Braun did was a lot different. I know
Yeah.
Rich Paul technically works for him because he's his agent. But to your point, Maverick Carter, I think that it's more of a partnership than an
Yeah.
employer employee relationship. I'll say for me as a small business owner, I would not hire a friend to work for me. I've been approached. I've been approached by a couple of friends, people I consider very close friends,
Hmm.
and I had to, respectfully decline. And the reason being isn't because of them. It isn't because I think they would not do a good job
Hmm.
or anything like that. It's just that the employer employee relationship to me is not a friendly relationship. And
Hmm.
what I mean is we can be friendly, but we can't be friends. Like to
Hmm.
me, it's kind of hard to be like, how we gonna hang out on the weekends? and we drinking together, or we cutting up, we doing woo woo woo. Maybe you see me in a compromising situation, and then on
Yeah.
Monday just act like that ain't happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or it's Memorial Day weekend. We both at the same kickback turning up. You show up late. I'm talking about the employee. The employee shows up late the next day. As the employer, I write him up. Well, we were at the same party. You know what I'm saying? We was getting drunk at the same party. We was doing this, that, and the third. So to me, that line, it's just kind of tough to be friendly sometimes, and then have that employer relationship. Because when you have that employer relationship, you are under me in terms of you report to me. I'm responsible for you. Like if you're not on your game, you know, I'm the person that you would talk to. I have to kind of professionally check you, so to speak. How do you be friends after that? I don't know, and I don't want to know. So I
Yeah.
personally wouldn't. But if it was a business, like if it was, hey, let's you got you put your money up, I put my money up, we come up with a plan, and we start a
Mhm.
business together, I would do that. Because to
Yeah.
me, now it's not an employer employee relationship. It's not a directive type of relationship. Is we're kind of really on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? We're both quote unquote bosses in a way, and we're
Yeah.
working towards a common goal. Versus an employee is really working towards the employer's goal. Employee has
Yeah.
goals and whatnot, but when you're an employee, your goals are set. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And when it's a partnership, like say Rod and I, we have worked it out. We have talked out what our
Hmm.
objectives are. We might disagree on how to get there, but at the end of the day, you got your equity in the business. I've got my equity in the business. And when you are coming
Yeah.
to a conversation with equity, it's a different type of conversation.
For sure. Yeah, man, I agree. I don't even like recommending people to work sometimes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy that's gonna let you off easy just because we friends, bro. Like, nah, you got to work, bro. Like, we got
Right.
this is business. Business is business, and this is what has to be done. So
Yeah.
I think it can strain a relationship. Like, the things that you said are accurate, and then on top of that, I think if you, especially if you're working directly under me, um, that just leaves a lot of room for error with other folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Favoritism and
Yeah.
just a lot of noise that you don't want to deal with. So
Exactly.
I think I would rather not do that. Someone asked a question like, "What if they're down on their luck and you know what I mean they're about to lose their home and going through all of this and they're a solid worker, they just can't find employment at the time." I said, every circumstance is different. That's a tough. I'll try to get you in somewhere like if I can pull some strings somewhere else where you're not under me, for sure.
Hmm.
Like I'll help you out on your luck, but just to hire you directly just because you're down on your luck, um, it's tough, man. Because again, that can tarnish the friendship, and I value relationships, and mixing that in is almost like you know what I mean, shitting where you eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say it's funny you mentioned that. I've actually been in that exact same situation too, where I had a homie. We still tight. To this day, we tight, and
Hmm.
it actually didn't really negatively impact our friendship. But um, good dude, keep it a stack, 100. Um, is going through a little situation, and I brought him on a temporary basis, but we both knew it was temporary. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it was really, honestly, it was more like a contractor type position. Honestly, like it wasn't even it was kind of employer employee kind of thing, but it was just, hey, I need you to do this certain, little thing,
Yeah.
and you get paid by the job. It was kind of a paid by the case kind of thing,
Yeah,
or paid
man.
by the output, I should say. It wasn't like an hourly or a salary kind of thing.
Yeah,
And when he produced, we had a number we came up with, and it worked out.
for
I
sure.
will say it worked out. But with that being said, that still doesn't change my position. Is overall, it's no.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
I
it's just
agree.
the because I just value the friendship more. And
Yeah.
I can find an employee, and you can find a job, as the
Yeah.
homie. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So so let me ask you: would you go into business with a friend, or would you just rather keep it all separate?
I would never say never. My preferred reaction when there's money involved, I prefer not to I prefer not to intertwine my money with a friend's
A
money.
friendship.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, it just I done been in some sticky situations, and like people say money don't change you. Money
It
can
does.
change you, bro.
It
It can
does. And honest, and it
enhance
doesn't take
certain
much. It doesn't take
yeah, it can
much.
enhance certain attributes. It might not change you, but it can enhance who you are and attributes. And if
Yeah.
you're a jealous person, money can change a lot. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely it
it's
can.
tough. I think if it's with it, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'll never say never, but it has to be strict communication, strict rules, strict guidelines with lawyers and stuff involved. Like, this is the splits, this is how it's going. If one of
Yeah.
us was to do X, Y, and Z, this is how it would be split up. This is your buyout. Those type of things would
Yeah.
have to be in place. And even then, if it get to that point, the friendship is probably still ruined. But that's
Yeah.
the risk you take when you're dealing with money and friends, man. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is tough. And it's something, it's like I said, it's something I would do, but it's not something that I would take lightly. I think to your
Yeah.
point, same. You gotta have the paperwork, you gotta have it in black and white. It's probably a good idea to have an independent third party review everything, like you mentioned, like an attorney.
Hmm.
Um, somebody unbiased, and to be able to separate, kind of facts from feeling, which I will admit it's easier said than done. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And when money comes into play, there's always that potential for, man, this person will hardly do this.
Hmm.
I'm doing all the work. Like those kinds of things can easily creep up in one's mind.
Hundred
Because I've been there
percent.
too. Honestly, I've been there. I had a partnership with. I wouldn't call him a friend, more of an acquaintance. We were good acquaintances, I would say. And we had a partnership, and it was a little handyman business I had. It's been a while now, about 6, 7 years ago, something like that.
Hmm.
And it ended up fizzling, and it left. We're actually still cool to this day, believe it or not. But it did put a strain
Yeah.
on our professional relationship and even our friendship, so to speak. Like I said, I wouldn't call him a friend, but I would say a very good acquaintance.
Yeah.
And it did put a strain because we just saw things differently.
Yeah, man.
And to your point, when we put it together, we did not we did not put we didn't put anything in writing. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it was just, hey man, like he was gonna swing the hammer because, like I said, handyman business, so he was gonna do the work. I would set it up. I would do the paperwork. That was
Yeah.
kind of the gist of the partnership. And over time, actually over a pretty short period of time, there definitely became I thought you were doing this. No, I thought you was
Yeah.
doing this. Well, I still need this. Well, I need that. Da, da, da. Well, you don't get it. You ain't out here. Da, 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 So that definitely did put a strain, and I ended up pulling the plug on it. And
Yeah.
um, it was a learning experience. I don't really have any regrets per se, but I do acknowledge that the strain that comes along with that. Like, you got to have a strong friendship, but I think even more so, you got to deal with somebody I think who can compartmentalize. Like, I'm pretty good at
Yeah.
compartmentalizing, and also just go by what's in writing. Like you said, put it
Yeah.
all in writing. I
Yeah,
would do it
man.
again, but I would put everything in writing and really sit and think about what could go wrong, and
Yeah.
whatever could go wrong, put something in writing
Put it in
to kind
writing.
of,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think about, we just talked about Bron and how he's been able to come up through this professional anomaly, we'll call it, of having your friends separate and do other ventures all under the
yeah,
same umbrella. That's a rarity, man. Like, most cases, you see more split ups and breaks than you see things like that come to fruition, man. Like, it
Joe
sounds
Budden
great growing up.
podcast,
Every
Math
podcast, bro,
Hoffa and
basically.
them, every podcast pretty
Every
much ever.
podcast. They be like, yo, bro, every group, every
Yeah,
there,
rap
there's
groups,
not a
R&B
lot.
groups.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stories, because what happens is, I can't say they're all jealousy, but differences, and people grow in different spaces at different times, and sometimes that clashes. Sometimes it's that third person, that pillow talk. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
female or that male in the ear saying why they get all that. You know what I mean? Versus
Yep.
you doing this. You know what I mean? So that there's
Happens.
a lot that goes on that you just be like, man, why doesn't anything ever work out, man? And unfortunately,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I said, you don't get too many examples of seeing it work out. So it makes
It's
you
true.
skeptical.
I would say the only two I can think of in terms of like in the entertainment industry that we all know them and can relate to is LeBron James and his team.
Hmm.
It's crazy how it's been over 20 years
Yeah.
and they held it together. And Ludacris and Shaka Zulu, they've
Mm,
been a rapper management team. And
yeah.
he's the only reason I know about that because I want to say he said it on Drink Champs, maybe. I think Luda was on
Yeah.
Drink Champs, and he mentioned that he and Shaka Zulu went down. They never had paperwork ever. They've done
Wow.
all these deals together. Like Shaka did his movie deals for him. Of course, his record deals,
Yeah.
and Luda always broke him off the whatever that number is supposed to be. He always broke him off the right way. Pause.
Yeah.
And they've got a relationship with no paperwork that's lasted for over 20 years as well.
That's
But you
wild.
just don't see that, bro. Like
You
look at
don't.
look at Jay and Dame, bro, the most famous.
Never
God,
thought you would
dog.
see it though. You never thought you would see those two split back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, things start getting a little shaky.
yeah,
Even I mean, you got Kendrick and Dave Free right now, who are. We'll see how long that or how far they can continue to take it. But you know, what I mean, they're
yeah,
doing major things with PG Lang at the moment. So it can happen. It's just like you say, you got to take those steps and have real conversations that I think most people aren't willing to have
yeah.
because shit can go wrong very quickly. And
Very quickly.
I would rather I would rather have you as a friend and not do business with you than say, oh yeah, we had this business at one point and now we don't have either one. You know what I mean? The business and the friendship is gone.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the challenge is we want to do business with friends because it's like there's the familiarity there,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, I know this
It's
guy.
a
He's a
dream.
one. Woo,
It's
woo,
a dream,
woo.
man. You
Yeah,
dream of doing those type of things.
yeah. But honestly, you're right. Like a lot of my strongest business relationships they started off as strictly business, and then
Yeah,
I've had friendships grow out of business
for
relationships.
sure.
But I don't think I've actually really had a friendship successfully grow into a business relationship. It's always been the
Yeah.
other way around,
Yeah.
And I think the reason is when I meet a quote unquote stranger and we start doing business together. The foundation of our relationship is the money. We
Yeah.
both going after the same thing. So once we get that out of the way and we both keep it up, we realize, oh, he's 100, or she's 100, whatever. Then you can say, oh, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll have a drink with this guy or, have a
Yeah.
drink with her or whatever. And then you kind of develop that rapport.
Yeah.
But it's the money first. And once you realize that's good, then everything else comes second.
Yep.
I think that's what it is now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Is with friends, it's like it's the relationship first. It's man, that's my
Yep.
drinking partner. Like we gotta maintain that. But not really. When you're going into business, it ain't about being drinking partners. It's
No.
about that money. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
man.
saying?
Yeah.
That
That's the
goal.
common that's the common denominator, man. And
Yeah.
everybody doesn't have the same business acumen. Like my friends have different skill sets, you know what I mean? And
Facts.
sometimes we try to mix those skill sets to be more than what they can provide, and it just doesn't work out, man. So, like I said, it's a never say never type of scenario, but I would say if I do it, it is with caution, and I'm very reluctant to do it if it's like close friends. I would rather do
Yeah.
it with someone friendly and we like cool
Yeah.
versus like, yo, that's my homie. That's like I'll take a bullet for that dude, you know what I mean? Now
Yeah.
I'll support your business all day, every day.
Right.
But, us doing business together, that's a tough one.
Yeah. When you get to the point where you're doing tax returns and shit.
Yeah, yeah,
It hit different, bro. I'm telling you, yeah, it does. It hits different. Um, man, God, you got me thinking. Yeah, it does. It hits a lot different.
Yeah.
And the downside is once you cross that line, there's no going back.
There is
Like
no
even if you
going back.
realize like, this ain't for us, there's always gonna be a lingering little sting,
Yeah,
in the back of your head, one way or the other.
for
About
sure, man.
yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of self-awareness is needed too. Like I think I'm
Yeah,
pretty self-aware. I mean, granted, a person can only be so self-aware. There's always going to be some
yeah,
naivety there.
yeah.
But I do think that it takes a person to be very self-aware to get into something like this, and knowing your strengths,
100%.
knowing your weaknesses, knowing what you need to delegate out or let somebody else take
Yep.
care of versus what you do yourself. That takes a
Yeah,
strong sense
yeah,
of self to kind of to hold yourself accountable.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And vice versa of knowing your counterparts' strengths and weaknesses. Um, I think like putting somebody in position that like I'm gonna have you do my marketing for all of this and go out have you talking to people and knowing they're not good with talking to people.
Right.
That can cause strains, you know what I mean? Like things like that is just like it's a little thing, but recognizing who you're dealing with, are you going to give them a little more slack than usual, than you would usually give somebody, or are you going to, you know what I mean, push them harder than you would push somebody? And again, some
Yeah.
people may not like that. So
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope for sure, man. But
It
I
is
think
a
the
slippery
common
slope.
denominator that we keep saying, and there's a saying that said money is the root of all evil. Some people don't believe that. I truly do believe that. Like money is at least from statistical standpoint, most relationships, marriage, whatever it may be, the number one cause of separation is number one is usually communication, which we touched on. Number two
Yeah.
is financial.
100%. 100%. Because it's resources.
Yeah.
Access to resources that changes so much
Yeah.
of any conversation. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's easier to deal with things. It's easier to deal with life when you have ample resources at hand,
Yeah.
aka money.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, money is definitely the root of evil.
Yeah.
100%. I
100%.
mean, because it's just if I can live better, if I can eat good every night, and I can have it 72 degrees in the house and it's 100 degrees outside, and I can go to Turks and Caicos and Costa Rica, and I can ride big and bruh. And then sometimes, man, when you kind of come up in life a little bit, there's certain things you get used to that you don't want to go back. You
You
can't go
don't.
back, and you'll do anything to keep from going back.
Yep.
Anything. You know what
100%,
I'm
man.
saying? Shit.
That's why I say the more you make, the more your lifestyle changes. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like people, I remember even saying this myself, like, man, if only I can make $60,000, dog.
Same. Mine was 50.
Man,
My
if
bar was
only I
lower.
can
Let me
make
get
60.
that 50. Let me get a 50 piece. I'm
Man,
good. That's
yeah.
what I used to until I hit 50, and I was like, yo, this ain't.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it changes. The bar continues to raise. So no matter
Then
how
you shoot
much
for 6.
you make, yeah,
Yeah. Then you shoot for 6 figures, and you get the 6 figures. If 6 figures is good, because most
yeah,
people are not there. But damn, you hit 6, and you're like, I'm not as rich as I thought.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? Like, because then you like you're right. You find other expenses, or you just do more. Like, you
yeah,
know what? Let me make sure I'm actually like, let's get responsible. Let me open up. Let me make sure my IRA is fully funded. What's the max I can put in there? Let me get my insurance right.
for
I mean,
sure.
I can rent a boat now. I can go to the lake and I can join a boat club.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe golf. Maybe I'll start playing golf. Things you just don't even think about that you
yep.
start to do when that money come into play.
Well, the more you make, the more exposure you get. In most cases, you
That's
get
it.
exposed to different things, and once you're exposed to it, I've never done cocaine, never will. But like when people are exposed to cocaine, they like, shit, this is the best stuff on earth. I'm never going
Yeah.
back to that regular life. So
Right.
that's sort
Right.
of like it's a bad example, but that's sort of like how the more money you get, the more you get exposed to, and it's like, all right, I like this. I like taking a trip to not Myrtle Beach. You know what I mean? I like going
Right,
to
exactly. Yeah. Oh, this
you
is
know what I
what
mean?
clear water looks like. You can actually see.
Exactly.
You can get in the water and actually see your toes. I can get used to that.
Exactly.
But that clear water
Exactly.
costs a little more money though. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. But you know what? Speaking of resources, I know we about to wrap up here. Um, I was watching a keynote a couple days ago on this new Google platform that's kind of enhancing the AI tip. And before we got on here, we were talking about, working through a calendar and utilizing technology to the fullest to really manage our businesses in our day.
Yeah.
The stuff I'm seeing that's coming in AI, and we've touched on AI a pretty good amount. And a lot of it was fears of like robots and stuff. But
Yeah. Taking over.
we didn't even touch on the simplicity that is adding to your everyday life, which is good. Scary too. It still can be scary because now you're losing a lot of people are losing the ability to even think. You know what I mean? But some of
Yeah.
the things that are coming down the pike with this AI, like I'm looking at damn near a feature film that look like me and you sitting here talking right now that was generated all from AI. And this is within, a very short time frame, relatively speaking. I mean, AI has been around for what, 3 to 5 years at max.
About 5 years or so. Yeah.
And it was very basic things that we were dealing with, like Siri, you know what I mean? Like voice
Right.
assistants.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to a point where you can make a feature film or a short. I don't know if it could be a feature film, but at least a
It'll
short
come.
film
It'll come.
with
We're not there yet, but
utilizing
we're getting
AI.
there.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't need an actor. I got, my AI version
Bruh.
of me. I can
Yep.
make Sinners in 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yo, and you can merge Michael B. Jordan with Denzel Washington with damn, I don't know, Shamar, make like basically a super black actor, super handsome, super beautiful woman actress that doesn't
Yeah.
exist. And they do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like I'm thinking about the action movies, bro. Like action movies, sci-fi movies, that genre when this technology really like becomes a staple and we are
Mm-hmm.
truly limited by our imaginations because a lot of like movies the limitation is the technology. It's like
Yeah.
you can't have a person too close to an explosion. It's
Yeah.
an explosion. But if it's all AI, you can kind of do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
the imagination is going to be there, and then just robots and AI in general. I was watching this little thing a little bit earlier this morning in China. They have parking garages where it's like the valet service has been replaced by robots, and the
Wow.
robots they're just like little. Um, it almost looks like a bed frame almost. You know what I'm saying? Just a little,
Yeah.
and it slides up under the car. It lifts it up off the ground like maybe an inch, something like that, and it slides it to whatever parking space. And because they're robots and nobody has to open the door or anything like that, you can cram these cars into much tighter spaces with
Wow.
precision. And they're testing it like at three different like residential parking garage, hospitals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine you just pull up, you just give. Actually, you don't even have to give it your keys. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because really, it just like basically like tows your car around essentially
That's
to a
wild.
parking spot. Yeah, that's where we're going with it. There's already robots that cut your grass. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
like super
Yeah.
expensive, like $5,000, something like that. But as it's out, it's going to get to the point to where these robot lawnmowers are going to be like maybe $400-500.
Yep.
Definitely more affordable. Everybody's going to have them, like Rose and the Jetsons. Bro, I'm getting me
Yep.
a Rose, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a Rosie or whatever her name was off the Jets. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get me a robot. You know what I'm saying? Leave the sass. Don't be cracking no jokes on me, robot. You know, and to go dark, bro. Like these robots is gonna be crazy. Like imagine like you're like some drunk asshole who beats women. You can just like come home and beat your robot instead. You
Yeah.
know, I know that kind of went like left, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's gonna get
Very
used
left.
that way. It's
But
gonna
even if
happen.
you have a drunk man that beats you as a woman, you can call your robot on him. You know what I mean? So vice versa.
There you go. Yep,
Uh,
there you go. Yeah, it's like he's on one. Robot just saying, hey, chill out, bro. Go sit over there. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Chill out. You know. But that's where it's going. A lot of people talk about, oh, what are we going to do for jobs and woo woo woo. I think what's going to have to happen is two things. One, industries are just going to change. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the same thing happened with the car.
Yeah.
Cars came around. Oh, well, who's going to maintain horses? Kill job. Well, we're not thinking about horses anymore. Horses are a
Yeah.
novelty. If you see somebody riding a horse, it's for recreation, not for necessity.
Exactly.
Things change, and it's going to be the same thing with AI. I do think there's going to be less jobs, but I think what's also going to have to happen is the government is going to have to change the way that we operate in the world.
Yeah.
Um, because eventually you're going to have probably maybe too much poverty, and if you have too much poverty, you're going to have people revolt and
Yeah.
rebel.
Yeah. That's
Um,
true.
so, yeah, so we're going to have to go. We have to be a little bit less of a capitalistic society. And when I say this is happening, I'm thinking our kids' lifetime. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So our grandkids are going to have to kind of really contend with this. I think things are going to come to a head at that point. Right now, we are in the infancy. Matter of fact, if someone's buying stock, I would say buy a little bit of stock in these robot companies, AI, because we just don't know
Yeah.
which one is going to emerge as like the Coca-Cola of robots or the Apple of robots. But that's going to be, or the Google. Because shit, I was looking at another thing. My bad, I'm going off. But I was looking at this other thing. Google is losing market share in terms of people visiting websites. They're still
Hmm.
number one, and they've been number one for like a bajillion years. But now ChatGPT is top five, and
Mm.
ChatGPT just came into fruition like 5 years ago. Like I think during COVID is when
Yeah.
ChatGPT became a thing. So people are going to ChatGPT before Google, bruh. Um, I got my first lead off ChatGPT like a
Yeah.
week ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to this a potential client for property management, and we had a good conversation. I said, "Hey, Mr. Such and Such, how did you find out about us?" ChatGPT. I did a search. I told him I'm looking for a property manager that does A, B, and C, and y'all were the number one recommendation. So I called.
Man.
What?
Wow.
What? Yeah, and it got me thinking. Even myself, I will go to ChatGPT more and more often looking for stuff
Yeah.
instead of Google. Just do the
Yeah.
do
Me
the
too.
homework for me. Yeah,
Me
booking
too.
trips. Have you tried booking a trip? Tell
I have not.
ChatGPT, yo, I want to go to I'm gonna say Myrtle Beach, and this is my budget, and just pick whatever's the cheapest time of the year. And they'll just
Yeah.
give you like all these that go to this hotel for this, go to that hotel during this time of the year. It does all the work for you, and it'll take you to the site. Hey, click on this
Yeah.
link, and it'll do it all, bro.
It's wild, man. Like, and I must commend you for even recommending it because I remember, I don't know if this was online or offline, I can't remember, but I remember us
Yeah.
talking about AI at one point, and you're like, bro, have y'all tried Chat GPT? This is probably a year ago. And I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
not really. And you were talking about how you did it for maybe it was scheduling or something. I don't remember what the
I
function
use
you
for a
used it
lot of
for.
templates, a lot of
Yeah.
templates for me.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So yeah, but ever since then, man, I looked into it and I've been using it like crazy. Basically, the only thing I was eating was a protein and a vegetable, no carbs. Like
Oh wow. Okay, you
protein,
was locked
vegetable,
in,
no
bro.
carbs. Yeah, and that's not sustainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It worked for about a year, but at a certain point, you're like, man, like my workout's not the same because I'm losing
You
fat
got a
and
deficit.
muscle. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm too much at a deficit where I don't have the energy to push the weight that I wanted to push or to power through the last, 20 minutes of a workout knowing I need to do, 20 or 30 more minutes. And I'm like, oh my God. Just
Yeah,
because I was so much at a deficit and, energy comes from carbs.
that's
So
right.
I'm like, man, I started incorporating more carbs in my diet, and obviously that's gonna make you pump up a little bit. But I'm like, man, there got to be a better balance to this. And I've been doing nutritional stuff for a lifetime, so I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
let me just find something that's gonna work for my weight range and what I'm looking to do. I'm like, let me just put it in the Chat GPT. 20 seconds just gives me this whole list of
Yep.
foods, exercises, everything. It was like, I can make this more specific for you if you tell me your height, weight, age, and gender.
Yep.
Pop that in there. man, gave me a breakdown of every day. So even if I don't use it verbatim, it's still a great baseline to be like, yo, this is a variation that I haven't tried, or this is a variation that, like, damn, that's breaking it down by Like when I say I've never looked into macros, I wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
invested into it. It broke
Yeah.
it down to how many macros you should be taking in, you know what I mean? The
Yep.
calories of like, this is what did it say? It said like, this is your range of where you should be to maintain your weight. Then it broke it down to, this is if you want to, have a steady goal of 1 to 3 pounds per week, this is where you
Yeah.
should be. If you want to be more aggressive, this is the amounts you want to be. Like, to do all of that within a few seconds, like less than a minute, I'll say,
Yeah.
of typing it in, it's it's scary for one, but it's an amazing tool, man. It is
Yeah.
going to change life if you utilize it more and more. And as we begin to learn more about it, it's going to change the way we live. And if you're not jumping on it now, man, or haven't jumped on it, I strongly recommend you do so, because I mean, AI is not going away. So you might as well either jump on the train or get left behind.
Nope. Yo, so I was on Instagram one day, and it was like people. It was like the post was something about how people use Chat GPT in a way that you just like wouldn't think of. And I'm
Hmm.
gonna read this one. This person said, she recorded. I recorded. No, is a woman. I recorded an argument with my ex and asked ChatGPT if I was being manipulated. I got a full analysis on every manipulation and gaslighting technique he used. So she
Wow,
recorded the convo, put in ChatGPT, and broke down what was happening in the argument.
that is wild.
Bruh, that is wild. Yo, imagine, like, I'm married now. I'm happily married, but if I was in these streets like that, I would be a demon, bro. Like, imagine. And
Man,
nowadays, a lot of people don't
it's a
like
cheat
to
code.
talk on the phone. Cheat
Yeah,
code. People like to text these days, or DM, whatever.
yeah,
Bro, I could just take my whole DM chain, put in ChatGPT. Like, look, I've been trying to get with a girl for a minute. You know what I'm saying? She playing. Look at this. Look at this thread. Look at her profile. What I need to say so I can get up in that. And ChatGPT gonna do it.
yeah.
ChatGPT gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Bro, I
yeah,
didn't use
man.
it. I didn't use it low key to help me get stuff from my wife. I'm like, yo, her birthday coming up. She's this age. She da, 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 da. And it'll give me these gift ideas. And because
Yeah,
I use Chat GPT so much, it like no, and I had like the little $20 version. You know what I'm saying? Like you
yeah,
can subscribe to it and like really like it keeps a record of every interaction you do, and it starts to
yeah,
just anticipate things about you, right? So now it knows me so well. I'll tell it like, yo, I got an anniversary coming up. Oh, and bro, I just say anniversary, it already knows it's a 10th anniversary. Even
man.
though I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in some other conversation, but I didn't say it in that prompt. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
10-year anniversary. That's the year of the such and such. She likes this. You da, 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 da. Just give me this whole breakdown. I'm like, bruh. Like, and this is
that's
just the
wild.
beginning. It is
Yeah,
wild.
just the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to
So
change the game, man. It has already changed the game, but it's definitely about to. I hope it don't take the human intuition out of the everyday experience, because some people don't have common sense as it is. But I hope it doesn't progressively make us dumber as a nation. But
I
I can
used to
see that.
think that. I used to, but I don't think so. It would, and this is what I mean. I feel like people said the same thing about the calculator. Used to
Mhm.
be you had to do math on pen and paper. Then the
Yeah,
calculator came out, and it's like, oh, the calculator's gonna make people stupid. Da 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 da. And I don't think that's happened. I mean, there were
no,
stupid people before the calculator, and there's stupid people after the calculator.
for sure.
You know what I mean? And same thing with computers. You know what I mean? Like, oh, computers gonna be. We rely on computers. I can't imagine, but I don't
Yeah,
even take paper notes anymore.
yeah,
Like everything I do is either on my phone or my computer or something. Bro. I don't even
yeah,
like signing my own name, low key. Like
yeah,
everything is so digital. You know what I mean? Everything is so. I don't feel like my MacBook has made me dumber. My
yeah,
iPhone hasn't made me dumber. If anything,
yeah,
it's actually raised the bar because now I have the ability to accomplish so much with so
yeah,
little that now I kind of take it on myself, and I'm expected to accomplish more because of the tools that I
Right.
have. So I think with AI, that's what's going to happen. The bar is just going to get raised. It's not going to be enough to like response, for example. So I'm in the service industry, and in my industry especially, and I probably in your field as well, response time is a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Hundred
People want
percent.
answers like that, real quick, real quick. Well, with AI, now somebody can shoot an email, and AI will read my email and
Yep.
and give a response right back, or at least just give me a response to spit back at the person.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just like that. And it's getting to the point now where, from a customer service standpoint, bro, somebody has to wait a day for a response. I'm getting complaints. If somebody emails me on Monday morning, say 9 a.m., and they don't get a response until, let's say, 9 a.m. the next day, like, and I'm not even talking about something important, like my house is on fire, just a general
Yeah.
question about whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't respond that same day, you might be in trouble. Like you're gonna there's gonna be an issue where there used to be a
For sure.
time where if you sent an email or a message to whatever company, 3 to 5 days was, hey, if you get a message in a few
Standard.
days, you're
Right.
good. That's standard.
Right.
Now people are expecting answers in hours
Yeah.
instead of days. So that's what I mean. I think it's just gonna up the ante. I don't think it's gonna make people dumber per se. Um, it's just we're gonna spend less time thinking about menial things,
Yeah.
and it's gonna allow us to think in more complexities. Like you said, the Google, this all started from those Google videos you were talking
Yeah.
about, bruh. We're scratching the surface, we're playing with it, but somebody's gonna really harness that technology and create a video, create a movie, create an experience that we just never even thought of because it just
Yeah.
wasn't possible before. You know what I'm saying?
And that's cool to think about, actually. Like that. That's where the power of technology comes in. Like, you made some great points, man. Technology has always been advertised to advance your livelihood, not to eradicate certain aspects of you. You know, man, it's meant to advance those nuances and like some people just can't communicate. Like I have a person example at work that emails come across as quote unquote dismissive. Well, guess
Mm,
what? I can drop that into AI, say, hey, how can I soften this tone? Within seconds, it'll give you some ideas or verbatim of what to say.
we don't have cameras, but I got my hand up. That's me. That
Yeah,
is
man.
me, bro. I have to use ChatGPT because I know my emails, text messages, things I say. I know stuff I say comes across wrong,
Yeah.
and especially at work. Yeah, ChatGPT all the time, bro. Like it
Yep.
softens. I need it. So you talking about a coworker? You might have been talking about me because that is me all day. Condescending, yeah, that's me. Dismissive, that will be me sometimes.
Yeah,
So that's
man.
a fact. That is a fact.
For sure. Yeah, man. It should be interesting to see how we continue to progress, man. Shout out to Google and all these other platforms that's helping to enhance AI, and like I said, I can't wait to continue to learn with it, and I'm not gonna be one of them old dudes that don't know how to use technology. I'm gonna ride the
Right.
wave, bro, and get with it.
Right.
So I recommend listeners you do the same. But as we wrap this thing up, man, shout out to T. I know he's in Detroit for the week. Enjoy the city for me. I need to get back up there at some point, but while you're there, have fun. But I'll leave us with this quote, man. Failure is a bruise. It's not a tattoo. Think about that when you
That's
get home.
real.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
real. And you kind of need
Yeah.
those bruises, man. You know what I'm
You
saying?
need it, bro. You need it,
Yeah.
man. I'll be trying
Yeah.
to teach my kids that, like, you gotta bump your head a few times.
You got to, man. I think, and I know we about to wrap. I'm not gonna, but you about to make on another tangent. Not enough parents let their kids get bruises these days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I kind of get it. Like maybe as a kid, you got a bruise and it really hurt and kind of stuck in your head. The bruise is a metaphor, y'all didn't know. Um, that bruise, that time you fell off the bike, is stuck in your head, and now you're an adult, and you don't want your kid to go through that. but sometimes your kid need some bruises. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. 100%. Cool, man. Well, it's always a pleasure, man. It's been fun. On that note, cue the music.